Welcome to Dark Docent. My name is Jake. Join me as I guide my friend James down the paranormal rabbit hole, attempting to prove the authenticity of a new case each week. Today's case: Bob Lazar, the man who worked at Area 51. How you doing today, James?
I can't really complain. How are you?
Not bad, brother.
Sun is shining.
Yep, sun is shining. The weather's great. There's a nice breeze. My puppy dogs like to lay in the sun, so we're spending this beautiful day in a basement.
In a basement suite with the blinds shut. The light bulbs turned to full yellowness.
Like true conspiracy theorists, my friend.
It just doesn't hit the same if we were out doing this on the deck enjoying the sunshine. How awful would that be?
First off, we ruined the sound. Second of all, I see people sometimes doing the video portion of the podcasts, and they're on the couch, and they're each holding a microphone, and they're under blankets, they're looking really chill and cozy. No. We don't need that.
That sounds great. I
Yeah,
didn't know that was an option.
It is an option.
We can have hot chocolate and blankets.
That's what they do. I've seen lots of shows do it. But here's the thing, James.
I don't even like this chair.
This show's not about comfort, James. This show's about the truth, and the truth is uncomfortable to know. You really think you would feel a lot better about yourself if you learned about the Miami Mall aliens under covers with a hot chocolate?
I feel like the vitamin D from the sunshine might be great.
No. You need to be uncomfortable. You need to be low on all sorts of vitamins. And you'd have this crazy guy looking at you with a wide-eyed stare while pointing you towards blurry photos saying that it's 100% fact that these things are real.
That is how it's been going so far, hey?
Yeah. And it's kind of 50-50 on the scores right now. Honestly, I've been keeping track.
Oh.
I have looked at our records, and they're about 50-50, which is really kind of funny.
Is that above the fence or under the fence?
Yeah, it's like a perfect 50%. It's like damn near perfect. It's like 50% go over, 50% go under, and then there's like a tie for draws. It's really, really funny. And that's when you're like dead on the fence.
If I gave a 2 every episode, we'd have a bad show. Sometimes I have to give you a 2.5.
Even without the score system, we may still have a bad show.
Maybe.
But if you're listening to this and you disagree with James and I's sentiment that this is a bad show, please give us a follow on all the platforms that you're listening on. Give us a 5-star review. It really helps push the show. And if you want to help us that much more, we have a Patreon now where you can go, and for $5 a month, you get bonus episodes and the ability to vote on your believability for each case that we do.
And if you don't like our show, keep it to yourself, please.
Yeah, we can't let the bad words get out. We already have our words getting out there, and it's not helping things.
Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words also tend to hurt me.
Wise words from a wiser man. Oh, wait, we have an
Thanks,
episode.
everyone. Bye-bye.
Wait, we have an episode to do. Wait, never mind.
Not getting out of it this easy.
Well, James, that's enough of us promoting ourselves, because I have a story for you today that's actually a pretty big one, and I've been really excited to tell you about it. And also, this was a listener submission.
Shout out to
Renee,
our listener,
on Spotify. She commented a case, and it was perfect timing for me because of the number of episodes that we have done. And I like it when numbers cross over like that.
The 51 Club?
Probably the 51 Club. That's it. Forget what age. I think that was like the age that actually more musicians die anyway. So that makes more sense. But no, not the 51 Club. I have a story for you. May 15th, 1989. Right now, we are in Las Vegas. And local news station, KLAS, has a breaking news story. There is a man on the line that has some breaking information regarding classified projects that the US government has been performing. Now, he wants to keep his identity secret, so his face has been blacked out, and he's going by the name Dennis. Dennis has gone on to say that the US government is reverse engineering flying saucers at Area 51. He goes on to say that they had 9 saucers in their possession. Now, they wanted to ask Dennis, how do you know all this? Well, Dennis replied, because he used to work at Area 51 in a specific sector called S4, where he dealt with propulsion and the power of the craft. And the reason he was coming forward is because he felt that his life was in danger. Now, James, this was almost 40 years ago. And since then, we know that this man was not named Dennis. This man's name was Bob Lazar. You got it, brother. James, have you heard of Bob Lazar's story?
I have. I've heard of Bob Lazar and his story.
Okay. Do you know all the details, or do you just know the basis of what it is?
I know some of the details, a lot of the bases. I don't recall the super specifics.
Kind of just what I went over there, where he came out about reverse engineering UFOs.
Yeah. He said it was some and then it was they, even though for just like a split second or whatever. I don't remember or something.
And we'll get into all of that.
Want me to stop? Just cut it all out. Fuck it.
We'll do it live.
Bob who? I never heard of Bob Lazar.
Well, we're starting quite a bit ahead here, James.
Yeah.
Let's go all the way back to the very beginning.
1989. S4.
That's where we are.
Fun fact. That was the year my first car was made.
Ah, yes.
My 1989 Mercury Topaz in beige.
The Bropaz with the crooked racing stripe.
The Bropaz with a 12-inch subwoofer in the back.
I loved that thing.
I did too until I had to drive it.
Bob Lazar was born back in 1959. And ever since he was a young boy, he was always fascinated by technology and engineering. But specifically, he was into like high-powered explosives, propulsion systems, rockets, lasers, stuff like that. He's like a nerd with very extreme interests. And he actually started building his own rocket engines when he was in his late teens. It all started when he saw an article in a magazine, and the magazine featured a rocket-propelled go-kart. These were made by a man named Eugene Gluharev, a man of Russian descent known for his work on tip jets, which is a nozzle that they put on the end of helicopter blades to prevent like torque on the frame. And also he invented the Gluharev pressure jet, which is a jet engine with no moving parts. His father was also chief engineer at Sikorsky Aircraft in Russia. So he's got a whole family of different propulsion and aircraft stuff throughout his family. Well, he read that this is the guy who made this go-kart. And underneath this article, it said his address for his shop. So he was like, that is only about 30 minutes from where I live. His shop is in Gardena, California. So he's like, I could just drive up there and ask him stuff. So Bob did just that. He got in his car, drove to Gardena, California, and went to the shop. And Eugene was in the shop working, like just as another employee. So
making the rocket-propelled engine.
Yes, making a rocket-propelled engine. I don't think I can do it as good as you.
It's the Slav in me.
True, I have no Slav. I'm 100% British Isles. So Bob's interest and passion for all these topics led to a friendship with Eugene. And Eugene would teach him all this stuff, and he would go back and forth from his house to the shop and learn more and more about what was going on. And eventually he went to like tech school, MIT, Caltech, and eventually found himself at Los Alamos National Laboratory, where he was working as a physicist. This was in New Mexico, where he got to work on one of the world's most powerful particle accelerators, known as the Lancy Accelerator in Los Alamos National Laboratories, which is about half a mile long. Now, while he was working at this base, his coworker Jim came in one day and said he went to the races. And at the races, they had jet cars. They were literally just rockets on wheels, and people would operate them and race these things. He was instantly like, I have to have one of these. And it actually got him into starting to make his own jet cars. Of course, he didn't have the materials to work on an actual jet car yet. But he did have his wife's 1972 Honda Civic hatchback, which he thought could perfectly fit a rocket in the back of it. So he got home and he just started taking his wife's car apart. And he eventually did install a jet engine in the back of her Honda.
Where did he get a jet engine?
He built it.
Ah.
Yeah, he had all the stuff for it. He could just build it. For those doubting, I have pictures of it for you. Here is Bob Lazar's Rocket Honda.
That looks pretty cool.
It does. The paint job's super wicked on it. This is back when people actually gave a shit about cars and put like hard work into it.
Yeah.
But that thing stands out.
I wouldn't be able to recognize that as a Honda, that's for sure.
No. And there's the rocket in the back of it.
Hmm.
So he actually did have this rocket car, and he made the front page newspaper of it.
That's pretty badass.
Right? And it was operational. Like, he could fire it up, and it would work, and he could go with it. But the day that this paper came out, talking about Bob Lazar and his rocket car, which, by the way, everyone knew in town, because Los Alamos is not a very big town.
Yeah.
So when Bob has a rocket car, everyone's like, holy shit, Bob's got a rocket car.
Go up to 200 miles an hour.
Yeah. Insane. I'm surprised that a little Honda Civic could handle that, but it did.
I mean, I assume the rocket wasn't the only upgrade.
Oh, I'm sure he had to stabilize, like put something in the frame or something. I don't know, but
Maybe bigger brakes and a parachute.
yeah, I'm not a car guy, so I wouldn't know. But he had to have other modifications to make this work. But here's the thing: same day this newspaper came out, there was a man named Dr. Edward Teller who was doing a speech at Los Alamos National Laboratories. Have you ever heard of Edward Teller?
I don't believe so.
So he was a Hungarian-American theoretical physicist and chemical engineer, known as the, quote, father of the hydrogen bomb. Ironically, he was very against war. So anyway, he was doing a speech at Los Alamos, and Bob wanted to attend. Bob went there early and actually saw him outside of the area where he was going to speak, reading the newspaper that had Bob's face on it. So Bob was like, he's reading about my rocket car. This is my chance to strike up a conversation with him. So Bob went up, spoke to him. They had a nice conversation about all the engineering and stuff like that. And this actually didn't benefit him instantly. Bob went and saw his speech, which you can actually find. You can YouTube it and watch the speech if you want to. But this actually helped him 6 years later, in 1988. Bob was looking for a job. And he was like, you remember talking to Dr. Teller and figured maybe I could send him in a resume, get a job working at his sort of field. Well, Dr. Teller actually responded to him by phone and said, I don't actually do this anymore. He was in more of a consulting position. But he had connections with a guy in Las Vegas. So he gave this phone number to Bob. This was at EG&G Special Projects, where Bob got interviewed in person. By the end of the interview, the position he was aiming for, he found out actually wasn't quite the right fit. They didn't want him for this position that he came for. They had a different project in mind. They had a position open, working on special projects near Groom Lake, otherwise known as Area 51. This position was at a smaller facility called S4. Now, it's December 1988, and this is going to be Bob's first day on the job. But the thing is it's not like your usual 9-to-5 work schedule. They call you whenever they want and say you need to be at the airport in about an hour and 45 minutes and get here by 6 p.m. And it would just be whenever they called him.
Yeah.
So he's just sitting there, he's got the job, and they call him, okay, you need to be at the airport this time and get here by this time. Okay. So he goes to the airport and he takes what's called Janet Airlines. Have you heard of Janet Airlines?
Nope.
Janet Airlines is a special plane that's only in Las Vegas that takes people to Area 51.
Oh, I wonder how much your ticket is.
I don't know. Apparently it's all government funded from what I heard, but I don't know. The thing is that Janet Airlines is actually not a real airline, quote unquote. It's like one of those things that's real, but not real, if you know what I mean. The planes are there, and I actually have a picture of the Janet Airline planes for you.
Do I know what you mean? Are you talking about like it's not an airline?
It's like if you ask the government, does Janet Airlines exist? They'll say no. But it does because everyone knows it does. And everyone's kind of like, those are the planes that take you to Area 51. And they're like, is that Janet Airlines? Well, we can't say that that's Janet Airlines.
Ah, gotcha.
It's one of those weird things like that.
Yeah.
Bureaucratically, it doesn't exist. Here's Janet Airlines.
I'll take your word for it. That's just a plane with no name on it.
Yes. No, there's a plane with absolutely no name on it and a red stripe.
White plane with a red stripe down the middle that's barely wider than the windows on it.
Yes. This isn't like Hui. These are the planes that take you to Area 51. And Bob was the first person to tell people about Janet Airlines. It actually came from Bob, and then later kind of people figured out that Janet Airlines was a thing, and that's how people got to Area 51. It's either this or it's blacked out buses.
Right.
So, his first day at Area 51, a little strange. Of course, first day at Area 51, not going to be normal. He got on Janet Airlines and went to Area 51 and landed on the tarmac, got off onto the tarmac, and he was greeted by a man named Dennis. Dennis was kind of his supervisor. Dennis guided him into a small building on the base. He then had an officer go through paperwork with him about what exactly he was signing on for. And that was it. They just went through different papers like you can't say this, just signing your things away, and then that was your first day. See ya. They sent him home. Well, he doesn't know when they're going to call him back. Eventually one day, the phone rings. He answers it. Guy on the other line says, you need to be on the tarmac for 6 p.m. Be here by this time. And that's it. Hang up.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So he goes to the airport, gets the air flight, goes to Area 51.
I'm already stressed out.
It's high tense. Like, I was watching it and reading about all this stuff, and I was like, I would not be like cool as a cucumber about all this.
No.
Like,
I mean, I like a certain amount of structure in my life, and on-call doesn't do it for me.
No, I couldn't do all that.
Especially when it's on-call to an airport.
I have friends that are on call at some of their jobs, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it at all. Our researcher, Daria, actually had an on-call job for a long time. I think she still does, but I don't think it's as much as it was before. But she would get called out to places at like 3, 4 in the morning sometimes. It's just like, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
It would drive me nuts.
If that happened to me, the phone would ring, I'd be like, and then I'd 100% fall back asleep accidentally. Without a doubt.
Well, it's a good thing that we're not smart enough to work at Area 51.
Allegedly.
I'm pretty confident I'm not smart enough to work at Area 51. I would be like, where's the fucking aliens, brother?
Where's the bathroom? Take smoke breaks here or no? Ripping ciggies in Area 51?
It's 1989. They're probably doing it in the lab.
Fair enough. What a time to be alive.
We were once a proper country. When he arrived at Area 51, Dennis was there to meet him and guided him to a dark blue, like old school Bluebird bus with blacked out windows. They just said, hey, get on. We're taking you to S4. So they get on, and you know how at the front of like public transit buses, they have those seats that face each other?
Yep.
Apparently Bob would always sit at the front right by that pole and just kind of sit at the very front seat and face across. Dennis would sit at the chair right across from him and just stare at him the whole time. And they wouldn't say words to each other. Dennis would just sit there and stare at him and not say anything. And Bob said that this was probably the most uncomfortable part at the beginning, is this guy that's like a hardened military guy just staring at you.
Yeah.
But he kind of understood, but also was like, this is insane.
Mogging him, as the kids would say.
As they're on the bus, they're going around these mountains called the Papoose Mountains. And they're almost like on like a gravel dirt road. And then all of a sudden, the bus stops. It appears to be the middle of nowhere. And the thing is that you can't really get a good look of where you are, because these windows aren't like blacked out tinted. They're like blacked out. You can't see anything out of them.
Right.
But the front window...
It's a really big bag over your head.
Essentially. And the windshield's the only part where they can actually see something. That's kind of where Bob, like, that's why Bob liked to sit near the front, because he could see a little bit.
Yeah.
When he got out, it just appeared like they were in the middle of the desert. And he's like, I don't know where we're going. Well, Dennis guided him towards the mountain. And at the base of this hill, there was a small door shaded the same color as the mountain and a security camera right above it. They enter this door, and it's a small room with a folding table and a military man behind it. Dennis just acknowledged the man acknowledged Dennis, paid no attention to Bob, and they walked right past him to another door. When they got to this other door, there was another door inside that room, and in front of it was a hand scanner. This hand scanner apparently would work by putting your hand on it, and it would measure your skeleton and your hand And by size and dimensions, that's how it would read who you were.
Right.
Basically, you put your hand on this, and then once it scans, it pops out a little card. And this little card is what you swipe to get through every door in the facility.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like a time punch, but for wherever you go.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it was a way that they tracked them to make sure they weren't going off where they weren't supposed to.
Yeah. That would make sense.
And also, it's because
It'd make more sense to have a card that just wouldn't open doors that it's not supposed to.
After they opened this door, it looked like just a long, endless hallway that just went straight down. Bob said it was like a two-tone green, and there was just doors scattered all down the sides. And they're like those doors that came up and had the little glass squares with the mesh in them.
Safety glass.
That's it. Yeah. Now, they walked down for quite a while, and then they went to the nurse station. Bob said this was the only female he ever saw at S4, was the woman who worked at the nurse station. She told him that they may be working with a lot of foreign substances, and that there could be strange reactions that he could have to them. She then proceeded to draw a grid on his forearm, and then pulled out several needles. She would then prick each square with a different needle to check if he reacted to any of them.
A little allergy test.
Basically. And then after this, they gave him a strange amber liquid that he said smelled like pine sol. And they told him to drink it. So he did. And it appeared to have no reaction. But he did say later on he had some stomach cramps, but he says it could be coincidence.
Yeah.
And that's something you'll see with Bob throughout this. He's a pretty level-headed guy when it comes to logic. He never goes to the extreme first.
He's not just jumping to conclusions.
No. Even now, he doesn't like talking about aliens. He actually is not interested in the topic at all. He finds all the alien stuff, at this time especially, he was a huge skeptic. Didn't believe in any of this stuff. He's a science guy, first and foremost, and couldn't concern himself with all this sci-fi crap. And to me, that gives it a little more legitimacy.
Yeah.
After this, he was led into a briefing room, where he was told of his project, called Project Galileo. The goal of this project, to reverse engineer extraterrestrial craft. Now, Bob's like, really?
Oh?
Excuse me? Now he's like, maybe they mean something else by this. He's like, not aliens. What are you talking about, right?
Yeah.
Well, he was like, well, I guess I'm just going to sign my life away. And the thing is
You're already there, may as well.
May as well. And the thing is that there was other stacks of these blue folders beside him. He was not allowed to touch any of those. He was only allowed to look at the folder that contained his project. And that's how they kept all this kind of secret, is they had scientists working on very specific aspects of these projects so that no one could basically put it all together and put it out into the open.
Yeah.
So if Bob went out and leaked stuff, he could only talk about the propulsion. He couldn't talk about anything else.
Yeah.
And then also that's a way to trace it back to who would have done it.
Yeah, if anything does leak.
Exactly.
Yeah, that makes sense. Seems inconvenient when you can't collaborate with your peers, but...
Well, that's why he has a friend. After this, he was brought into a lab, where he was introduced to his new coworker, Barry. Barry seemed quite eager to meet Bob. Bob got the impression that Barry had been alone for a very long time. Apparently, he just was just excited as hell and jumped right up and was like, let me show you how this stuff works, and was super stoked to show him all this stuff. Kind of like when you bring someone to like a new place and you want to show them all around, you know what's going to happen, you're just waiting for their reaction.
Yeah.
Same sort of thing.
Kind of like when you show me Bigfoot videos.
Yeah, and then you break my heart.
Yeah.
So he was super excited to have Bob and was able to show him everything that was happening, but also have a helping hand on the project, because it's probably been Barry for a while. Barry told Bob that they were focusing on the power and propulsion systems of the craft. Bob was kind of like, okay, what craft?
Yeah.
Barry didn't acknowledge this question. Barry first wanted to show him something on the desk. He rolled a large black cylinder. It was like a few feet long, maybe a foot thick, and he rolled it kind of like a steamroller would roll. And it was pointing at the end of this pipe at some weird hemisphere on the desk that was on a metal plate. Barry called this the emitter, and he called that hemisphere the reactor. Now, after he turned this cylinder, he told Bob, try to touch the reactor. So Bob reached out his hand and went to push down on the reactor, and his hand stopped. There was a force field around this object, and he could not push it through. Think of it like when you're pushing two magnets together and they're opposing each other.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it. He was pushing down with all his might. He said, quote, that this was the biggest scientific shock he had ever had. There was nothing in the world that could do that. So Bob's like, what's this for? I have no idea what this could be used for. Barry said, Bob, that's what propels the craft. It is a gravity generator. They were dealing with gravity-propelled crafts. What do you think, James?
I think that's a heck of an introduction to a guy.
This is his first day.
Yeah. Gravity-propelled engine.
Yeah. Which is what we talk about today with modern UFO technology theory sort of thing.
Yeah, it's definitely become a lot more popular.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with these disappearing scientists. Everyone's like, gravity, gravity, gravity.
Yes. Bob was talking about this 30 years prior to us talking about it now.
Yeah.
So, kind of crazy that he got that right. Or at least in the theoretical terms, what people are talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Now, of course, we don't have the reactor.
No.
But recently, we did 3D print the reactor.
Like just the shape of it?
The shape to a T with the color. So there was recently a documentary that came out.
Yep.
Called S4, the Bob Lazar story. And it's a really cool documentary. Basically what they did is they used AI and 3D printing to recreate everything that Bob saw to a T.
Yeah.
And Bob would tell them if every little aspect was good. So I was like, good enough. He was like, no, this to a T. And they recreated everything, the lighting, what he saw, every nook and cranny of anything he saw. And that was the same with the reactor. And I have a picture of Bob with the reactor for you. That is the reactor.
Yeah, it's half sphere sitting on top of a plate. A square metal plate.
Yeah, pretty simplistic.
Yeah, vaguely reminiscent of the Demon Core.
From what?
From history.
What?
The Demon Core.
I've never heard of this.
It's you ever see that meme where it's someone holding up a half sphere with a screwdriver, then they accidentally drop it and everything goes blue?
No. What's a Demon Core? You're gonna teach me something.
It's a radioactive chain reaction. It's like plutonium and lead or something like that. I don't know.
And it's called the Demon Core?
Look it up.
A 6.2 kilogram sphere of plutonium gallium alloy manufactured by the Manhattan Project in 1945. Originally intended as the core for the third atomic bomb to be dropped on Japan. The core was retained for radiation testing after the war. It earned its ominous nickname after causing the deaths of two scientists in separate, quote, tickling the dragon's tail criticality experiments. All right, fuck around and find out. I get it.
Yeah, so that's what it was. It's it went supercritical or whatever. When like you lower top of the sphere or whatever onto the top of the dome on top of the sphere, and it starts getting closer to going supercritical, then they accidentally dropped it, went all the way down, and then you're dead now. Lots of radiation.
That's extremely interesting.
Yes.
Also, it does kind of look like that.
Yes.
It's actually, yeah, pretty close to that.
See, I know stuff too.
I know you do. You know I'm crazy.
Even though I didn't really know all the specific details. I have an approximate knowledge of many things.
I as well. And I always get them wrong, which is why I need to do extreme research to make sure I get it right for you. So after Bob was introduced to this hemisphere called the reactor and the black cylinder that they called the emitter, he was also introduced to this strange rectangular object. They called it the amplifier. It literally looked like the shape of a guitar amplifier, like the one in my corner over there, but it was entirely chrome with no sharp edges.
Yeah. What did it do?
I'll tell you, James. All three of these things worked in unison. The reactor created the power, the amplifier amplified the power, and the emitter would point whichever direction you wanted to go. Barry then wanted to show Bob something more. Do you want to see the components inside the reactor?
Sure, but it sounds like Barry's already figured this out. What do they need Bob? They've already nailed it.
They're still working on things.
They've got the round metal thing, they got the square metal thing, and they got the tube metal thing.
It's all the metal things you need.
Apparently.
The holy trinity of metally things.
Yeah.
Barry then took apart the reactor to show its components. Inside this hemisphere was a strange cone-like object. And on the top of the cone was a lid. I got an image for that for you as well. So this is a model of what it looked like. And basically this little tower over here, once they took the cap off, there was a strange copper line in the middle. Barry took this piece out, and it was like a rigid triangular copper piece. This was the fuel. It was called element 115. This element hadn't been discovered yet on Earth, but this piece could provide enough fuel for 20 to 30 years of travel.
That's not bad, hey?
Not terrible. I can use it right now.
For what?
Saving money.
I'd use it to power a data center.
I'm glad to see that you have all your priorities straight. Your data centers just to power the people who say please and thank you to their AI.
I tried just saying thank you like repeatedly again and again and again and again and again, just because to see if I could get it to either tell me to stop or what. And then I asked it how much water I use, and it basically said none.
Yeah, that's what it wants you to believe.
Yeah, I think it was lying to me.
This thing's smart. It's artificial intelligence. Fucking smart people lie all the time.
Yeah, well, what monkeys have eye shine? Cats, it turns out.
Yeah, that's to make you look dumb.
But if we had more data centers with more element 115, we could make AI so much smarter, I think.
You make us obsolete so much quicker.
Yeah.
We're already on the track.
Yeah, learn to program.
So here's the thing that's interesting about this.
Hasn't been discovered yet.
We know this, yes. Hasn't, well, at this point.
Yep.
And it definitely has not been stabilized, like the form it is here.
Yeah.
The biggest thing Bob was questioning about all this was, first off, this is mind-boggling stuff to learn on your first day. Your whole, like, warp of reality has been changed.
Yep.
But also, this thing had no effect until the element 115 was inside it. So, you know, element 115's out, the emitter's off, you can put your hands through it, no problem.
So what is the cone tower thing that it's sitting in?
So what they said this was it was like a,
Or maybe I'll describe how it looks a little better here.
Sure.
So, in the worst possible way, it looks like kind of like a birthday party cone hat, but all black with the top bit cut off. So it's like a circle on top and circle on the bottom where it narrows. And then there's that triangle piece of element 115 that sits that's just perfectly shaped. So when you put it long point down, the flat part sits flush with the top of the cone. And then there's a little metal cap, like a water bottle, that goes on top of it.
Yeah.
And like a little tube that comes at the side.
So what they think this was is it was a way for the reactor and energy to go into the other parts of the craft. And when we get to the craft, I will tell you more about how this works.
Okay.
But as of right now, this is all Bob knows, is the emitter, amplifier, and this.
Yes.
The biggest question he had was how come when this thing was on and he pushed down on it with all his might, the plate didn't move across the table?
There was no opposite and equal reaction.
Exactly. Like if you put a magnet thing on a table and you go to push it, it's going to move across the table.
Yeah.
This one had something keeping it like at base, sort of thing, keeping it still. Barry had an answer for that. So apparently they x-rayed this thing. And they found that there was like a circular tube that went around in the base that acted as like a mini particle collider. And that would keep everything stable so that the gravity would not react with the base. Of course, this was just a theory, but they thought it was the only possible theory as to why this base kept everything stable from the gravity pulsing from it.
Yeah.
Another thing is, no matter how long they kept this thing on, the reactor never got hot. It did not produce any heat. It stayed cold. Which, you know, coming from our point of view as monkeys that learned how to make explosions inside a big contraption to make us go,
Those get hot.
Those get hot. So this is completely alien to us.
Yes.
Now, this led to Bob's next question, which is something you just brought up. Why do you need me? You seem to have all this figured out, and I don't know why you needed a partner for this. Well, apparently Barry had a partner, but he unfortunately passed during an experiment. Apparently, according to Barry, they were being really pressured for results. There was a lot of money being put into this project.
Yeah.
So they decided to really amp up the speed of what they were doing. What the partner apparently did was he decided to cut the reactor with a plasma torch while it was on. Don't need to be a scientist to think cutting something that's pushing out automated gravity with a plasma torch probably wouldn't react very well.
Probably not the best idea.
Well, apparently this caused a massive explosion and killed everyone who was in the vicinity of it.
I would have used an angle grinder myself.
Angle grinder, eh?
Yeah.
I would use a cutoff saw. One of those big old saw blades that cause the sparks to go everywhere. I think just for dramatic stuff, you know.
Yeah, I mean, go big or go home, I guess.
Now, after Bob learned this, he was a little weary around all the tech that they were using here. And he said, quote, "It was like disarming a bomb every day." So that's Bob's first day at S4.
Sounds like a memorable one.
Yeah, your, whole idea of reality has been turned on its head. This is a thing that makes gravity, by the way.
I think I was on an episode of Punk'd.
Yeah, you just wouldn't question
Like,
the gravity thing.
Are you guys fucking with me? Sorry, did you say what the other components were made out of, material-wise? Do we know?
We don't really know. It seemed to be like a titanium alloy of sorts. The emitter was black. So the emitter was like this tube, and it was black, and it was hollow on one end, and on the other end it seemed to narrow into like a pipe that came off the top. Kind of like if you took like one of those massive water jugs you see for a water cooler.
Yeah.
You turned it on your side and made the stem of it a lot more thin and flush at the top, and the bottom completely hollow all the way through. And the bigger body is black, the smaller one's chrome.
Right.
However, the rest of it was entirely chrome. Amplifier's chrome, the components were chrome, the reactor was chrome. This one's black in this photo, but according to Bob, it was actually chrome. It seemed to be the color of everything, it was just a flush chrome.
Neat.
Yeah. Now, the second time Bob went to S4, things changed a little bit. As they were approaching where Bob got dropped off before, they passed that region. And they went all the way around to the front of the hill. When they stopped, Bob got out to see a hangar door was open, but it was built into the side of the mountain. And then he noticed beside this hangar door, several other hangar doors, all camouflaged to look like the side of the mountain. And inside this hangar was a flying saucer. Bob's first thought was, this is an explanation. This is what's causing all those silly UFO stories. We just made some sort of secret fighter, and it's just this strange new technology that's all us.
Case closed.
Case closed, right? And he says this thing looked like your classic UFO. It just looked like your chrome saucer, had a top with some what looked like portholes, but instead of like being on stands or floating, it was just on its belly, on the ground. Dennis instructed him to keep his eyes straight forward until they get to the door on the other side of this craft. Bob wasn't a good listener. On his way, Bob stuck his hand out and slid it across the side of the craft. Instantly, one of the guards grabbed him by his shirt and pinned him up, saying, "Don't you dare touch it, you listen to our commands," and reamed him out. That's the first time Bob got reamed out. And Bob quickly learned that these guys are highly trained and they don't see much action. And they are looking for something to do.
They're wishing a motherfucker would.
They fucking were. They were wishing. I dare you, motherfucker. That's what they're doing right now. They want this to happen. Like, if you ever see those guys outside of Area 51 in the trucks up on the hill, they are begging for you to cross that fence.
Or the guys outside of that downtown McDonald's. We're just waiting for you to say something.
That too. Now, after this, though, Bob stopped for a moment and did get a semi-look at the craft. And he noticed that it was missing a hatch. And beside this hole where the hatch was a backwards American flag decal on the side of the craft.
Like mirror image or backward?
Like mirror image.
Okay.
He still to this day doesn't know why there was a backwards American flag on there. I have actually a theory on this. I think they put the decal on backwards by accident. I think they just made a mistake and it's like, well, it's on there now.
The budget didn't have a second decal in it.
Working on saucers, brother. We don't have another $8 for a decal. After this, they continued into the lab, where Barry wanted to show Bob what the emitter could really do to everyday objects. Barry put a candle in front of the emitter, and then lit it. He then turned the emitter, and the flame stopped. Not like went out. Stopped as in froze in place. Bob said it was as if you took a picture of a candle right in front of him. Barry looked at Bob and said, "What do you think of that?" Now, Bob is beyond confused. Is this thing still producing light? But there's no movement in the flame. He said that the photons were still moving, because there's still light, but it's not moving. And also, gravity bends light, so it should at least look distorted, but the candle's still producing light without any sort of distortion.
Is the light flickering at all?
No.
Or it's just a solid constant light, like a flashlight or something?
Yes.
Or a bulb?
Yes, like a bulb, but it's just a frozen flame in front of it.
That's interesting.
It's very interesting. And this is what made Bob think that maybe this wasn't as simple as being something that produces gravity. Maybe it's something a little more, like a force similar to gravity.
Electromagnetism?
They don't know.
Which is probably not at all similar to gravity. I don't know.
I don't know. They just say, Bob said the closest thing we had was gravity.
Yeah.
But it also doesn't make sense to our understanding of gravity and science. It's breaking all of our rules for how the world works is being broken in this lab.
Yeah. And I know they can do some pretty crazy things with lasers and electromagnetism.
Yes, they can. It's once you look into like some of the stuff scientists can do with crazy shit like that, it's mind-boggling what can happen. But this isn't the crazy part, James. The crazy part was when Barry removed the candle from the area.
With the thing still on?
With the thing still on. Barry removed the candle and turned the emitter, and a small black ball was formed that appeared to be a tiny black hole. Bob just described it as a small little black hole right in the center. Didn't suck anything or anything. It was just a space of dark.
And this is where the flame was?
Where the flame was.
The flame turned into the little black hole when you took out the candle.
Basically, yeah. But doesn't know why. And Barry wouldn't give me answers. She's like, isn't that cool? That's kind of like all Barry's doing. He's like, isn't that sick? Isn't this crazy? What's that? And Bob's just like, so many questions, man. It's my second day. And from what I got from hearing Bob speak, Barry was just very excited to show him everything and got very overwhelmed very fast.
Yeah. Can't blame the guy.
No, I can't. If I was working on this, I shouldn't work. I shouldn't work at classified places. I wouldn't be good at that.
No.
I would go to you right away.
Hey, promise you won't tell anyone? As I said to 4 other people.
Yeah, that's basically what I would be like.
Hey, don't tell anyone I said this, but we turned a candle into a black hole.
Don't tell anyone I said this. We put a decal on backwards on a UFO.
The guard only hit me twice with the butt of his gun after I did that.
I got the bruises to prove it. His name was Tim. Here's where he lives. Now, Bob started to get more hands-on with the craft after this. He initially estimated the craft to be about 40 feet wide and 15 feet tall. But after all this, based on the measure of the craft and everything like that, he used computer imaging technology to get a precise measurement of what the craft would be based on the other things they took out of the craft. So they could take the reactor and they could take the things that were missing from this craft and just size it up. The very close estimate of how big this craft was about 16 feet tall and 52 feet and 9 inches wide. The exterior was stainless steel chrome, and when not powered up, it sat on the ground, not with your stereotypical stands, but just on the belly of the craft. The entry was on the top half of the saucer, and the interior had 3 levels to it. And Bob drew this for us.
Sounds like a tight fit being 16 feet tall.
It was a tight fit. On the outside of the craft, it appeared that they had a small antenna on top, but they didn't really understand why it needed an antenna. And it also appeared to have strange portholes around the top. Just below this upper level was a black ring that they called the insulation ring. There's also absolutely no sharp edges. Everything was pretty contour and dull where it should have been bending. And then they went inside. Now, Bob's still kind of probably one of ours. But when he went inside, it was far too small to be one of ours. This thing had 3 levels and was 16 feet tall. And when he went inside, he saw that there was 3 chairs in the center. In the middle was a reactor. And there was this strange periscope-like device that seemed to stick over the reactor and could come up and down like a periscope. And it looked to be connected to the antenna on top. This is when they started to think that that antenna was not a traditional antenna. It was a way to power direction. They think that that was used for like a waveguide, and the strange portholes were not windows, but a way for the ship to know where it is in space-time, because it had all these holes in different directions. All around this craft was coved archways, just in every corner. And it was literally just chrome everywhere, chrome floor, these chrome chairs that seemed to be stuck in the floor, the reactor in the center of these chairs, and the periscope, and that's it.
Sounds cold.
It looked cold. They said it was like extremely dark inside, and even when they powered it on, this craft had no heat.
Yeah.
We don't have anything like that.
Do UFOs spin around?
We've gone over this before. Some do, some don't. Sometimes I think the spinning is based on how we used to make them in movies in the 50s where they were on strings and you couldn't control the spinning. So it would just people put in their eyes, my mind's eye, that UFOs spin.
Yeah.
However, some do report that they spin, or at least the center would spin. But I'm not sure. Lots of them report more stationary. The more saucers that I've seen, saucers are more stationary.
Okay. Just want to ask that while it popped into my head.
Now, they're working away on these crafts. And the thing is that it's all coved walls, no windows. So they don't know how the hell these things move without seeing anything. Well, they're only there for the propulsion. But there's other scientists there working on other aspects of this craft. When all of a sudden, one of the archways became translucent. And he could see outside the craft. Then one half of the window went like a pale blue. And these strange numerical characters started to appear on this one half of the screen. And they would like float and wave and shimmer. Bob said the closest it looked to was Korean writing. But even that was far-fetched. As Bob's looking at this, he hears quietly his name. It was Barry. Barry looked up at him and said, "That's not our part. We're focused on the propulsion." Because each group of scientists was focused on their own part, and everything else was classified to them. So they weren't allowed to talk or look at any of it. And also, Bob said the way people talk while they were working on these crafts, it was like a library. It was very soft and kind of like, yeah, we're going to work on that. Okay, we're going to work on this. It was like they were
They didn't want anyone to overhear each other.
Exactly. They were working. They had armed guards around the entire craft while they were working. So, and again, these guys are antsy to do something to you. So don't fuck around.
If it were me, I'd hop in there like Anakin in that yellow ship thing and start blasting and fly out of there. That's just kind of built different.
It's called autism, James. Bob also said that on this level, you could see the amplifiers kind of merged with the floor around these chairs. But he said that it appeared that this ship had been worked on for a long time, because one of the amplifiers was actually plasma cutted out. It was just like this weld mark where it used to be.
So they're able to cut the ship apart.
They were able to cut the ship apart. Yeah, they were able to get the metal out. At least it appeared, he said it appeared plasma cutted, but, it could be something that we don't even know. Barry then directed him to a small hatchway behind the chairs. He said it looked like a honeycomb that was flush with the floor. Barry put his fingers in certain positions on the honeycomb, and then showed Bob where to put his fingers. The honeycomb then opened up, and the hole was big enough to just fit your head inside. And in the lower floor of the ship were 3 emitters. They were each vertical under each amplifier. This is when they started to figure out how this thing actually worked. The craft operated in 2 different modes, Omicron and Delta. Omicron was 1 amplifier and 1 emitter, and the other 2 emitters directing where the craft would go. Delta is all 3 emitters going at the same time, and that was more for when it was in space, and more for when it was jumping from place to place. The way that these things worked was like reverse to how we make things work. Instead of using something to push something to a direction, it would face the emitters where it wanted to go and pull itself to that direction. So the gravity and the gravitational force would cause it to jump from place to place to place. So I think it's crazy that we have this much information on something that would be a quote made up story.
Yeah, he's definitely got a heck of a memory on him, hey?
Yeah. And he goes even more depth than I'm going with you right now.
Yeah.
He talks about like the colors on the wall, what the walls were made out of, his card, where his picture was on the card, the words on the card, the color of the stripes that were on the card that he had, all this stuff. It's kind of amazing to me for someone who made it up, for someone who had a story that hadn't changed since 1989.
Well, he's clearly a very smart guy and he has a very good memory.
Yes.
If he, just purely for the sake of it, if he did make it up, he's smart enough. I think he's smart enough to make up something and make it sound realistic. And he's, again, clearly got a very good memory, so he'd be able to remember his lies if he could remember every other detail if it were true. Just for the sake of saying that.
No, I get you. But here's the thing. Where Bob differs from the other guys is Bob didn't make money off this. Like, Bob talked about his story because he was concerned for his life and didn't like that the American people were being lied to. And then he kind of disappeared until like 2018, 2019. That's when more documentaries started to come out. But he's never been in like the UFO zeitgeist. He doesn't like UFOs. He doesn't care about aliens. Like,
let me introduce you to something I like to call the long game.
The long game, eh?
Smart fellow, pay off in the long run.
Yeah.
He knows it.
Okay. Well,
he's been working with, Jeremy Corbell or whatever his name is?
Yep.
For quite a while now.
2018, yeah.
Yeah. Howard made a couple bucks.
Yep. But I know right now, because there's like a few documentaries that come out about him within the recent years. It would be like, oh, look, he's been famous for a long time. Well, not really. He went into hiding after this, and his life was in danger after this. And there's more reasons why this is a little more legitimate than it is right now. Right now, everything's pretty fantastical, so I get it. But
checkmate.
Let me give you an example. We talked about the Miami Mall aliens last week, and all the people that jumped on the bandwagon telling their stories about the mall. And all their stories changed constantly. And some points while they were telling the story, which was insane to me. Bob never changed his story once. His story's always been the same. And I'm trying to say things without spoiling things for you. I just think
you can just call me a silly goofball and move on. We can hit this stuff later.
I'm sorry. There's more to it.
Ask me whatever 9 plus 10 is and call me stupid.
In my opinion, Bob is the most legitimate UFO story, even more than like Travis Walton and all these guys. I think he has the most credence. And it's because of how smart he was and how he didn't want the limelight and a few other aspects that we will get into. But for now, you're a silly goofball. Let's move on.
Okay.
After this, Bob began to learn about the other projects that were happening around his project. So he was Project Galileo. But there were other files there that he happened to skim through. One of the other projects was Project Sidekick. Project Sidekick was how to integrate their technology into weaponry. Very American thing to do. And then there was also another project called Project Looking Glass, which was, quote, using gravity to amplify or distort time. Bob said, we weren't trying to make time machines, but maybe distort a millisecond here or there. I was like, it's going to become a time machine. It's like, that's like gateway time machine right there.
Yeah.
Now, as they're working through their propulsion, they're not allowed to talk about these other projects, so they left it at that.
Gotta learn to crawl before you ball, you know?
Precisely. Dennis came into their laboratory. Dennis said, hey, we're doing a test flight. We'd like you guys to come watch. He said, sure. So, as they're leaving their laboratory, they're going out through the hangar. And Bob noticed that all the other doors beside the hangars was open. So once you're inside the hangar, there are several other doors that kind of can open up to see the rest of the hangars.
Mm-hmm.
So Bob got a moment to look at what the other hangars held. And all the crafts were different. they weren't all the same as what he called the sport model, which was what he worked on. He said there was at least 9 other crafts, one of which Bob described as a bundt cake mold shape without the hole in the top, and it seemed to be made of the same pewter-like material. The other one looked like a top hat, but with like a flatter top, kind of like a barbershop quartet type hat. But this one was leaning on its side up against the wall, and the brim of the craft looked like it had damage from a projectile. There was a hole in it with the metal dispersing out like an explosion.
That means we can kill them.
If it bleeds, we can kill it. I'm glad you're taking the most important things out of this so we can kill them. Great.
9 hangers or 9 crafts in there. Sounds like we have been killing them.
Well, a lot of these are from...
And by we, I mean the American government.
That's what we mean by we. The human race. Well, the thing is that a lot of these crafts seem to be crashes or trades. We'll get into that later.
What would you trade for the sport model? Don't say Klondike bar.
I'm not going to say Klondike bar. Sport model?
Yeah.
Like I'm trading the sport model for something. Or what would I trade to get it?
Let's up the stakes.
Okay.
Let's say you captured Bigfoot. Would you trade Bigfoot for a UFO?
Depends. What are they going to do with the Bigfoot?
You don't know. It's not up to you.
It's not up to me?
They get the Bigfoot. You get the UFO.
Who is they?
The United States government.
What's my relationship like with the Bigfoot?
You have it in a cage currently. You captured it.
So not great.
I probably wouldn't let it out at this point.
That's a tough one. I get really attached to animals. I feel like I wouldn't... First off, I feel like I wouldn't be in the situation where I had a Bigfoot in a cage.
What do you name the Bigfoot if you did have one in a cage?
If I had one as a pet?
I don't know if pet would be the right word for it.
Well, was it like captured? Does it like me?
Yeah,
or does it hate me?
you've captured it.
Then I probably wouldn't name it. Probably not. I don't know. You're changing the way I look at Bigfoot right now. Like if your perspective on this animal was completely different than the one you have right now.
All right. Let's say you knew where a family of Bigfoot in a cave were living.
Yes.
Would you trade that information to the U.S. government for a UFO?
No.
Would you trade that information to aliens for a UFO?
No.
All right.
If it was aliens, I'd be like, what the fuck are you? Why are you here? Hey, this is my friend 12 Gauge.
You'd name a Bigfoot 12 gauge, hey?
Whoa! That would be a... Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would, 100%. That's a great name for a Bigfoot.
Welcome to Earth.
Welcome to Earth.
Let me introduce you to my friend 12 gauge. Rips the alien's leg off and beats them all to death with it.
I think they made a movie about that.
Anywho. Good answer, I guess.
12 Gauge the Bigfoot. I love that. Come back next week as we conclude our 2-part series on Bob Lazar. We will get into more of the test flights of the UFO, and we will also get into the consequences of Bob Lazar's whistleblowing on S4. But for now, thank you for listening. Please follow us on all of our socials. And remember to like, follow, and rate the show. It really helps support us. And if you want to support us a little more, we have a Patreon and merch. Links are in the description of this episode and in our bio. Also, share with your friends. Word of mouth is the best advertisement, and it is free. And also, if I missed anything, or if you have any ideas for cases, or if you have evidence from your own cases, you can email us at darkdosandpod@gmail.com. We'll see you next week, everybody. Words to the wise, don't trade a Bigfoot for anything.